Most men assume attraction is built on big moments, grand gestures, expensive outings, perfectly crafted lines, or dramatic confessions. But in reality, the truth is far more subtle. The strongest emotional connections are often formed through small, almost invisible signals that most people ignore. And one of the most powerful of these signals is something incredibly simple: the way you address someone. There's a quiet language within relationships. It doesn't rely on complicated psychological tactics or memorized pickup lines. Instead, it lives in the emotional meaning behind ordinary words, especially the names you choose for someone you care about. A nickname might seem insignificant, but in the emotional landscape of human connection, small details carry immense influence. When a woman hears a nickname from a man she feels at ease with, something delicate shifts within her. It signals familiarity. It creates a sense of closeness. Most importantly, it tells her she's being seen in a way that others don't see her. Her given name belongs to everyone. A nickname belongs only to the connection you share. Think about it. Dozens of people may call her by her name every day. Colleagues, friends, strangers, family. But when someone special calls her something unique, warm, and personal, that word becomes tied to a feeling. And people remember feelings far longer than they remember words. Psychologists describe this as emotional anchoring. When a word becomes linked to a specific emotional experience, over time, simply hearing that word triggers the feeling automatically. That's why the right nickname can make a woman smile before she even realizes why. But here's something many men misunderstand. A nickname doesn't create attraction. It strengthens the attraction that's already there. If there's no connection, it feels forced. If the connection is real, it becomes powerful, and that's exactly what we're exploring today. In this video, we'll break down 10 nicknames that can naturally create warmth, trust, and emotional connection. More importantly, we'll uncover the psychology behind why these simple words carry so much weight. But before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments. It's always interesting to see how far this community reaches across the world. Now, let's continue because the next part reveals something even more fascinating: why the female brain responds so strongly to affectionate nicknames. There's a biological reason behind it. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, plays a major role here. It's responsible for feelings of trust, closeness, and emotional connection. This hormone is released during moments of physical touch, like hugging or holding hands, but also during emotional comfort, including hearing affectionate words from someone meaningful. So when a nickname is used in the right emotional setting, it does something subtle yet powerful. It connects your presence with feelings of warmth, safety, and attraction. Over time, the brain starts forming associations. Your voice becomes linked to positive emotions. Your presence becomes tied to comfort, and the nickname becomes a trigger for that entire emotional experience. That's why a woman might smile the moment she hears a certain word from someone special. Not because the word itself is magical, but because of what it represents. However, this only works when the emotional context is genuine. If a man uses affectionate nicknames too early before comfort or trust exists, the brain reacts differently. Instead of warmth, it may create caution. The word feels unnatural. The timing feels off. That's where emotional intelligence becomes essential. Men who are effective in connection don't rush emotional language. They allow the bond to develop first. When the connection feels natural, the nickname becomes a natural extension of it. And when that happens, the impact is surprisingly strong. The word itself may be simple, but the feeling behind it becomes unforgettable. That's why something as basic as "Hey gorgeous" or "Good morning sunshine" can stay in her mind for hours. Not because it's complex, but because it carries emotional meaning. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. It's not just the word that matters. The tone, timing, and energy behind it matter even more. Two men can say the exact same nickname, yet get completely different reactions. One makes her smile, the other makes her uncomfortable. The difference isn't the word, it's the emotional delivery. Women are highly sensitive to emotional cues, often more than men realize. Before she even processes your words, she's already reading your tone, your facial expressions, and your overall energy. If your voice carries calm confidence, the nickname feels natural and warm. If it carries nervousness or neediness, the same word can feel forced or awkward. Take a simple phrase like, "Hey gorgeous." When said casually with a relaxed smile and steady eye contact, it feels genuine. like a moment of appreciation. But if it's delivered too intensely or too quickly, it can feel like someone trying too hard. This is why timing matters. Nicknames work best when there's already a sense of comfort after a few conversations, shared laughter, or a small level of familiarity. That emotional space allows the nickname to feel organic instead of rehearsed. Another important factor is moderation. One of the most common mistakes is overusing nicknames. If every sentence begins with babe or baby, the word quickly loses its emotional value. The power of a nickname lies in its timing, not its repetition. Used sparingly, it feels like a spark within the interaction, adding warmth without overwhelming it. And here's something many overlook. The most powerful nicknames are often the simplest. Why? Because simplicity feels real. A soft, "Hey, pretty lady," can feel far more genuine than an exaggerated compliment. And authenticity is what naturally builds attraction. Now, let's move into the first two nicknames. Both create admiration, but in slightly different ways. The first is pretty lady. At first, it sounds simple, but psychologically it blends respect with attraction. It doesn't just compliment her appearance, it acknowledges her presence. Women don't just want to feel beautiful. They want to feel appreciated and seen. Pretty lady carries a calm, respectful tone. It's warm without being overwhelming. Imagine greeting her with a relaxed smile and saying, "Hey, pretty lady." It creates a moment of recognition, a subtle signal that you noticed her. And people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel seen. The second nickname is princess or queen. These words operate on a deeper emotional level. They communicate admiration and value. But here's the key detail. They only work when delivered with confidence. When said with calm self-assurance, "My queen," feels like appreciation. But when said with insecurity or intensity, it can feel overwhelming. Women are not attracted to worship. They are attracted to confident admiration. Admiration says, "I value you." Worship says, "I need you." An attraction grows in admiration, not dependency. When used naturally, these words tap into a deeper emotional desire. The desire to feel respected, cherished, and emotionally safe. And when that balance is present, something shifts. She begins to relax because appreciation without pressure creates comfort. Now here's where things shift again. The next nickname is simple, familiar, but surprisingly powerful when used correctly. "Hey, gorgeous." Just two words, but they can instantly change the emotional tone of a conversation. It signals appreciation, attention, and attraction all at once. What makes it powerful is its simplicity. People remember how they feel in ordinary moments more than dramatic ones. A casual compliment in a normal moment often lingers longer because it feels real. It also taps into identity. You're not just complimenting her appearance. You're acknowledging how she presents herself. But again, tone is everything. Confidence and calm delivery make it attractive. Forced delivery removes the impact. Now we move into two of the most common nicknames, babe and baby. These don't create admiration. They create closeness. They signal that the interaction has moved into a more comfortable, familiar space. But here's the mistake: overuse. If repeated constantly, they lose meaning. Instead of feeling warm, they become background noise. Used at the right moment, "Hey babe" can instantly create connection. Baby, on the other hand, carries a softer emotional tone. It signals care, comfort, and emotional closeness. When said gently, it can feel deeply reassuring. But again, delivery determines everything. Now, let's shift into playfulness. The next nickname is cutie. This one introduces lightness and fun. It creates a playful dynamic that helps her relax. Playfulness is essential in attraction. Without it, interactions become too serious. A simple, "You're such a cutie," during a light moment can make the interaction feel enjoyable, and enjoyment builds attraction. Next is sunshine. This one focuses on emotional impact. It recognizes how she makes you feel. "Good morning." Sunshine tells her she brings positivity into your life. That kind of recognition creates emotional intimacy. Now we shift again. Angel represents emotional safety. It acknowledges kindness and warmth. Used in the right moment, especially when she shows care, it feels genuine and meaningful. Then comes hot stuff. This introduces playful desire. It expresses attraction without heaviness. When delivered with confidence and a light tone, it feels exciting, not overwhelming. And now, the most powerful nickname of all, the personal one. This isn't something you learn. It's something you create. It comes from shared moments, inside jokes, or unique experiences. And that's why it's so powerful. It carries meaning that only the two of you understand. Every time you say it, it brings back the emotion tied to that memory. And that's what builds real connection, not just words, but shared experiences. Finally, 3 simple rules. First, don't rush it. Let the connection develop naturally. Second, pay attention to her reactions. They will always guide you. Third, stay authentic. If it's not real, it won't work. Because in the end, attraction isn't built on perfect words. It's built on small emotional moments. The details that make someone feel seen, valued, and remembered. And those are the moments that create lasting connection.